everybody, I'm Elisa and welcome to Polymer Clay TV. Today we're going to make a really cute ornament and we're going to use a mold. We're going to use some of the ruffled edge cookie cutters. We're going to use some metal alphabet letters and we're going to use some gilding polish. And it's really easy to make this, but you can do so many cute things with it and really change the look. As you can see, I've got this really cute dove mold here, and it's a silicone mold, completely flexible. And I've got three different looks with the dove bird, whatever you want to call it. And I've used gilding polish in all three, so you've got three completely different looks with just by changing up the colors and you know, doing it a little different. So let's get started, and I'll show you what I'm using as we go. I'm going to move these out of the way, and we'll come back to these to show you. I start by, of course, molding the bird, and I'm using the white gold glitter today, and I just like the way it looks. It's so pretty, and you want to condition it really good. Sometimes these glittery colors or anything that has like a translucent base is a little more difficult to condition, so make sure you do condition it well so it's not crumbly. It'll make your life easier. And so when I'm molding, I want to kind of shape my clay as best as I can to the shape of the mold. So sometimes I'll even, if like for instance on here, the tail is kind of split, I'll cut a hole in it. I cut a little thing in it to kind of help me coax it better into the mold. It's totally up to you what works best for you, but this tends to work really well for me. I like to use my hand and the pressure of my hand and the heat of my hand to help get it into the mold. And my rod, I like to apply pressure with as well. Now, you'll see it's not getting into that little crevice right there. With something like that, I like to torque the mold, and then as I torque it, push the clay into that spot. So now I'm filling up that cavity, and I know that the clay is down in there because I've, bent it up and pushed it in. And so, as you can see, I used way more than I need. I'm just going to start shaving off the extra. And you can just do this in little increments. You can try to get the exact amount of clay that you need, but I find that it's a little hard for me to judge exactly how much I'm going to need, and I don't mind doing it this way by cutting off little sections until I arrive at the right amount. So just do what works for you. If you find that you need to get more in one of these little crevices, by all means torque your silicone mold, and you can do that. And give it a little kind of push with your rod. So I'm going to keep going until I get it all the way shaved down the way I want it. You can take your time with this. I've done it a few times, a few gazillion times. So I'm a little faster at it than you might be. And I just want to get the mold completely cleaned up before I demold it. And that's really the important thing when you're using a mold, is that it's completely cleaned up before you take it out of the mold. Otherwise, it makes your life harder that way when you don't have it. Now, I have a little extra, so I'm going to kind of coax that with my finger until it fits in the mold. And I can see that I missed a little on the end. So no, don't fret over it. What you got to do is just take a little piece, and since it's kind of, a snake kind of, piece that I need in there, I just kind of rolled it into a snake, and then again with my rod, and then I can shave off any extra. And that looks really good now. You don't want it to be thin in any of these little areas, because if it's too thin, then you can have a chance of it breaking off on you, and you don't want that. You want it to come out nice. So any bit of extra clay that's laying around, get it off at this point, and that'll save your design. I think his beak is a little thin, and if you find a little thin area, like I said, just kind of shape the clay and stick it in there. Give it a nice little push with your hands, and again come back with the rod. And if this one I can clean up just with my finger, I don't have to shave any extra off. And so that's perfect. So I'm going to leave that sit for a minute while we move on to the next part. And this is what we're going for here. We're going to add our bird to our base, and we're going to make an ornament. But this also can be used as a tag. So if you're making gifts and you want to add a handmade element, to the tag, by all means, use these to make really cool tags. So let me grab a deli sheet so it's nicer and cleaner. And so at this point now I'm going to use my ruffled edge cookie cutters. And I have two sizes. The reason why I'm not going to cut it twice, but what I want to do is I want to have like a frame around it. See how I had the outside cut and then I wanted a little bit of a framing it in. So that's the purpose of using the two cookie cutters. So you'll see. I'm pushing this down, giving it a little twist. I want to make sure it cut all the way through, which it did. And so here's my piece that I have left with it. Now, what I try to do at this point is kind of line it up as best as I can so it looks like, it's in the proper place all the way around. You might have to move it a little. I mean, it doesn't have to be completely perfect, and it may not be, because don't worry about it. In other words, you're just going to get an extra little bit of design. That's what you're trying to do here. And so at this point, I don't want to press down on it like I did to cut it. I just want to press down on it to impart the design. So let me just, I went off where I was supposed to go. So what I'm going to do is just give it a tiny little push. I'm not adding pressure. I'm just adding a little tiny bit so that I can now have my design around it. So there I have that. So now let's first demold the bird. And I'm going to put it on this piece of tile. I like to kind of press my mold down on my work surface and kind of pull back. I tend to get a crisper design when I do this. And so gently removing it out of the mold. And so here you have it. And I'm going to leave it on the actual tile to work with. It makes it a lot easier. I really cleaned it up nicely before I actually, demolded it. So I really don't have to add anything to it at this point. Clean it up at all. So let's start decorating it. Actually, let's add it on here first. So let's take this off of here. Lay that on my and let's add the little bird. Now you can decide at this point, since I'm going to add the word joy. Let me show you the original. I liked it with the word joy on it, and I liked it down at the bottom. And maybe for this one, we can change it up so you can see the difference. Let me put it more towards, I'm going to angle him better, more like he's sitting there. Kind of like that. See how he's more down at the bottom? And we'll put joy up here. So the way I did the joy and decorated it, I used my finger first of all, but you can certainly use a brush or anything like that. You want to use probably a small little brush and dab it around, but at first I think I'm going to use my finger. And I'm just going to pick up and highlight these really cute flowers that are on here. I really like the look of those. And I'm just going to use my finger and kind of gently tap it. I'm using the gilding polish, and the stuff is so wonderful. And I know you guys are really liking it, because the second we get it in, it sells out, which I feel bad. We did order more, so hopefully everybody will be able to get some. So it's just that simple, and I'm going to add some green in here to kind of offset it. And there's vines in this design, so I'm going to let my finger run along the whole design. And he's got an eyeball there, so let's give him a little eyeball. And look at how pretty that is with very minimal effort. So let me leave this one open because that's the one I used. It might be good to have a paper towel handy. So I might have to do this upside down, guys, because that's the only way I'm going to see what I'm doing. But you'll get the gist. So we're going to start with the J. And they're just small little letters. And these are in the shop at createalong.com. It's the whole alphabet. And they come in a little plastic container with a lid. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to dip it gently into my gilding paste. Just dot it a little, and a little goes a long way. And so I think I'll start right about here. And I just gently pushing it in and pulling up. And see, you can see the J. Really cute. And obviously you want to clean these right away. You don't want your paint to dry into your letters. Here's an O. Again, the same way, gently tapping it into my gilding paste. If you have too much, or if you think you have too much, you can wipe it off and go back. So let me turn this back around so I can see what I'm doing. And I kind of want my O to go right about, I'd say, here. Again, gentle push down. And there you have the O. You want to take your time with this so you get it lined up right. But I'm just showing you how I made it. And like I said, you can take your time and make sure you get it the way you want it. And so let me just add this Y. Again, just a gentle push. And there you have it. It says joy. How cute is that? So then you can do any other embellishment you want. It's completely up to you how you want to decorate these. Let me pick this up off of here because I also went around the edge too. I took my finger and I went around the edge. See how I'm going around the edge and it's picking up the polish nicely? It's also helping to highlight the edge, which I thought was a nice little finishing touch. And you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way with this. You could actually do this before you put the bird on too if you want. So you don't have to kind of move him all the time. And so then I think I'm going to give it a little kind of brush around with some more of the green around the edges to kind of jazz it up a little. And I think I'm going to come back with a little bit of gold on this one. This is the Gold Treasure. That was the fern green that I just used. And like I said, a little goes a long way. You don't need to use much with this. I don't usually put silver and gold together, but I think this makes it pop a little. And in fact, I can add a little to the bird to kind of make it blend all in. And there you have it. It's simple, simple, simple. You just want to add a hole for stringing it up, and you would use, you know, your knitting needle or a poker, and choose where you want the hole to go. Right around here probably. Pick this back up, turn it over, and come back on the other side. So you make the hole as big as you want it, obviously, depending on whatever you want to string it with. If you're going to use something like a sari ribbon, you're going to need to make it a little bigger, the hole. If you can just use like a twine, you can make a small hole. And there it is. That's how to make a really cute bird ornament or tag that will add, you know, something really nice to a gift. And I know I'm going to use these this year on my gift packages. I plan to do that. And in fact, I'm probably not going to necessarily use the name, use Joy or something like that. I think I might actually put the person's name on there. Like, you know, if I have a gift to give to my friend Nancy, I'll probably just add her name, Nancy, on there. And then it just personalizes it, gives it a little extra. And as you saw, it only took a couple minutes to make these. So why not take that extra time and really just add that little extra touch that really makes that difference. Especially with the holidays coming, if you need like a little hostess gift, imagine making one of these, taking the string on it, and maybe putting together a recipe in one of those ball jars, the glass ball jars, and having this hang off of it. That really takes it to an extra level than just, you know, giving something like that. Or a bottle of wine. If you're taking a bottle of wine or a bottle of champagne, you can make these kind of tags to add to it and hang off the bottle to add that extra something special. So I hope you'll explore and try different things, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.